We're building a multi-layered infrastructure, which is based on the famous 5.1 trillion cubes, which allows the people to interact with the reality around them.
What do you think? What kind of person does it take to build infrastructure before anyone is ready? Because this is something very unique.
Consider also that we work in a stealth mode for 4 years now, something that doesn't exist yet.
When these big tech giants like Meta, Google, what genuinely keeps Cubish defensible in front of them?
What differentiates us from current giants?
Most startups, so they wanted to ship an MVP within just 6 months. But you spent 4 years in stealth mode. Didn't the team ever wanted to quit?
We never worked with a short-term mentality. Okay, we never said, I want to launch next year.
There's a data says 33% of the startups fail just because of the team conflict.
There will be no growth also without conflict.
It was mentioned that it is just 12 euros per year. That's less than a cost of a pizza.
I believe it's the most important thing for startups is to have a user base.
Is there any developer ecosystem or an API coming so others can build on top of Cubish?
Not yet.
When you launched in July 2025, what broke first?
The homepage, it broke.
What will be the timeline to profitability?
We foresee a 5 years profitability.
If Apple or Google called tomorrow and said, we want to acquire Cubish.
It depends. It means they're scared if they want to acquire us.
Welcome to Near Shots. Let's deep dive into Cubish to understand exactly. They say they are dividing the planet into 5.1 trillion cubes. So it is very difficult to imagine, but let's try to understand what exactly is happening over there in the world of spatial web and how they are bringing the transformation from classical web to the spatial web.
And with us is a man on the frontier of this vision, Luigi Pelella from Cubish. With 26 co-founders, 4 years building in stealth, and a world-first patent, they have created an infrastructure for the spatial web.
Thanks, Santosh. Thanks, Sagar, for having me here. I'm pretty excited to speak about Cubish and understand together how and what Cubish does, how it works. And thanks again for having me here. We strongly believe that is literally disruptive innovation that will come in the future, and we are anticipating as well the trend of the spatial web.
Thank you. Luigi, we have read your journey from transforming enterprises to betting on deep tech frontiers. But what was the moment when you knew the digital world needs a complete upgrade? Was there one problem kept nagging you day after day?
Okay, so basically, it was working with Cubish and working with the spatial web was something that was not foreseen in my life. It's something that you don't predict, and it's something that it comes suddenly in your life, and you start to understand better what is the context, and then you get kind of excited, and then you want to participate and understand what is going on. And I still remember, I just graduated from my master's in business administration and management. I started my normal career path working with technologies, digital and digital transformation projects and so on. And then suddenly, I still remember, I was in Barcelona during a work trip, and then I get a LinkedIn message from Dorian Lazzari, which is actually the real founder of Cubish, the man of Cubish. And he contacted me on LinkedIn and started to explain me about the project, starting to explain me about what is Cubish, the spatial web. I was at the beginning kind of disoriented because I didn't know much. Then we started to have a deep dive call within Cubish, within the argument, within the topic. And then I said, wow, I literally like this. I want to be in. And then I became part of the team. And so Dorian was literally doing a great job in putting up a big team, a huge team of 26 co-founders in order to start to build, the application of the spatial web. Because already today, spatial web is something that is still new, and there is something that there are still no foundation, no real infrastructure, to make the spatial web work properly, work correctly. So it's still for us as well as a startup, we are at the beginning to try to understand how make it much more better and usable for all the people around the world. So it's still the beginning, but we're pretty sure to be literally putting the real basis, the foundation of Cubish and the spatial web itself. Actually, related to the spatial web and the Cubish vision, there is always this question coming up to us like, okay, the idea is nice, but which problem are you literally solving, And we think that is much less about about solving a problem, fixing something, but is much more of delivering a new way of interacting with the world and the reality around us. We believe that Cubish, it doesn't solve exactly a real world application. It is not specific for a real market, but it's for everyone. Everyone can use Cubish. Every industry can use Cubish. And actually what we're doing is, as I said, a new way of interacting. We're building a multi-layered infrastructure, which is based on the famous 5.1 trillion cubes, which allows the people to interact with the reality around them and to, through the cubes, through the domains, we'll see them later how it will better work. People can actually geolocalize context everywhere in the world and can interact with them both on presence, so basically looking at the surroundings around you, as well. For example, I am based in Brussels right now, and I can interact with contacts all around the world, in India, in the USA, in Russia, whatever I want. I can go and search for contacts. So it's literally enabling a new way of interacting with the surroundings and with the real world.
Great. And Luigi, like, what do you think? What kind of person does it take to build infrastructure before anyone is ready? Because this is something very unique, right?
Yeah, basically that's consider also know that we worked in a stealth mode for 4 years now. Also because since it's a new way of working, a new infrastructure, something that doesn't exist yet. And the idea of Cubish is also building something not only that can embrace current technologies, but also future technologies. A lot of years that we expanded was on the research and development, no, to create basically the base infrastructure that allows Cubish to work properly, not only for the present, but also in the future can integrate future technologies, with the emerging new technologies, wearables, with GPS becoming much more and more reliable, with the new augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, everything that works with reality in the future. New developments will come, and Cubish needs to be ready to embrace these technologies. And this is why basically took much time to create Cubish. Is still something that will evolve in the future. And so our team as well, was kind of really structured on people, because we believe that people at the moment, especially for the beginning journey of a startup, is literally what is essential, for the survival of the startup. And considering also that infrastructure need to sustain a good user and customer experience at the same time. Also had, in our team, a lot of Dorian was able to build a team of people with a great vision looking at the future. We somehow structured a real good communication process internally. We are divided actually into 4 departments: the IT departments, the communication departments, the legal departments, and the strategy department, of which I am part as a representative of international relationship. And basically what was key for us was the vision and the communication among the team. This was, and this still what makes Cubish works. It will make it work in the future.
That exactly aligns with the tagline of Cubish, like empower your reality. But yeah, with respect to empower your reality, people think, right, already AR, location apps, Google Maps, Pokemon, the Go problem solved. But what's truly broken in today's single layer model? Can you share a story or a moment that really captures this chaos for our audience?
Yeah. I may understand, that this is also a question where that comes to us. There is already Google Maps, there are already other technologies, and I absolutely agree that in parts this is true. Like it does what it has to do, in order to make people interact with the surroundings. But actually, what Cubish does is something more structured, I believe, and this is thanks to our patent system of multi-layer structure that we have. So just to explain better how it works, Google Maps gives you visibility of restaurants, of activities around you. It drives you around the street, whatever. But what Cubish does is basically to make you interact with the surroundings around you. Most of the information and the applications we have today is based on static applications, so static application and static use cases as well. So today you're able to read information, you're able to see information, but you're not actually fully able to interact yourself with that content. Of course, Pokemon Go makes you interact. You can capture Pokemon, you can go to the gyms and whatever, but you're doing in kind of a parallel reality. Let's call it like this. Well, Cubish is more built in for therefore embrace the reality and make people interact with it. Okay, so we believe that, as I said, there is no specific market, there is no real market application. We strongly believe that there are, of course, some industries which will embrace sooner the Cubish application, for which we foresee in the next future, actually, the education system as well for the tourism system. So we believe these two main markets and players that will embrace Cubish during their daily activities. And as well in the future, we believe that also retail is something that will somehow be experiencing Cubish very well in embracing it. Let's imagine, when you travel somewhere, you start to look on the internet, whatever you have to look, you go on Google Maps and everything. Well, Cubish allows you to have one single entry point, specially made for where you're located. If I am in a certain point of a city, I can see the surroundings around me, which are typical of the city, which can be a historical monument, typical restaurant, which can be whatever, and is all placed there into one single access point. Of course, it moves with you. The more I move within my positioning, the more Cubish will update its content and tell me, notifying me like, okay, around you there is this, there is that, you can see this, and you can then deep dive within this information. And of course, this will make you interact as well.
I just wanted you to imagine Times Square, hundreds of brands, thousands of people, like all craving for space. I just wanted to know, okay, how does the current architecture fail all of them? What do regular users miss out on that they don't even know is possible?
Okay, basically, I would make a step back, coming to the famous trillion cubes, because I want to explain also how Cubish now works a bit. Cubish, in a few words, I'll try to make it very simple. It just overlaps a grid. So there is a grid overlapping on a map. So the Cubish interface is showing you a map, Google Maps style, okay, where on top there is a grid dividing the surroundings into cubes, into squares of 100 meter squares. Inside of each cube, people and also companies are allowed to create a kind of domain. Let's call it, it is actually a domain. It's like a website, okay, that is geolocated into that cube. And multiple brands, people, whatever, can geolocate their domain into a specific cube, and these domains will coexist. So a person walking into that cube is able to have multiple access to different sources according to their interests. So this is also the multi-structure layer that we have built on Cubish, where we are able to set into cubes multiple websites, let's call it like this, with a cube domain extension, and people can upload contents and the users around can see the contents that are surrounding them. This is something that today is not present somehow into the real world technologies, and where is present, I still believe it is static, is not interacting. Okay, so, and also the access of the content to Cubish is working on a local, so on surroundings, and also I can go and explore from Belgium. I can explore any cube, any domain around the world based on my interests.
Let's say like for non-technical listeners, so that they can understand the whole concept in a very easy way. So let's say if we claim this NeoSARC's HQ.cube, like outside office, could a coffee shop next door still build their own at the same spot where I have registered? And what does that unlock for cities, businesses, or creators?
Yeah, basically exactly to what you're saying. So each cube is a property of Cubish, okay? And in each cube, there can coexist multiple domains, okay? So this also is what the patent solution that we have is enabling. So the possibility to overlap contents and domains in the same place. So if I am a normal user, what I will see is just I will move around the map on Cubish. I will see the grid and I will see a moment, the square, for which it will be a signal telling me like inside there are contents, okay? And when I access that cube, then I will have the decision to access, okay, you have the domain SAS cube, you have the domain Luigi cube, you have the domain whatever cube, and then you can access the domain of your interest and see the contents inside of it. And of course, you can do this on multiple ways. You can explore and check the cubes of your interest and the contents, or of course, there is as well the homepage of Cubish, which allows you as a social built experience, so as a scrolling experience, you can see the contents that are surrounding you within a 30 meters radius. So of course, you will see if you're near a cube containing multiple domains, you will see the contents of all the domains, user experience. That's it. So the coexistence is possible. There is no overlapping of contents. everyone can be geolocated into their area of interest, and everyone can publish the content of their interest, which are more keen, more related to their scope, their activity, whatever.
Cubish, the platform as a whole, right? It must be using GPS, computer vision, AR, VR, right? And I think I am suppose even AGI, right?
Yeah, at the moment, I want to remind that Cubish launched recently, so it's active on the market since July 2025. So it's really a newborn startup. And Cubish at the moment, the main technology is GPS, which allows to geolocalize content, but it has already the structure to embrace everything that will be related to augmented reality and virtual reality. So we are building as well the possibility for the user to upload contents. Today, you can upload any type of content. Okay, you can also upload augmented reality content, so 3D models and 3D audios. But still, for example, to visualize it, you would need a device, a hardware to do that. And basically, the mobile phone is not built to foresee and see them, then you're not able to see it. And we are at Cubish are building now the foundations to make also wearables like optical visions to see these contents and embed the technology into Cubish. So we will never be 100% where we want to be. There's going to be still a lot of stuff to do, but it is something that is in our roadmap as well. For artificial intelligence is something that we are implementing as well today in the platform. There are many applications of the artificial intelligence within Cubish, but it's still something that is a newborn product, a newborn project for which we have already a built-in roadmap of activities and innovations, to implement within the platform in order to arrive where we want to be. But we will never be satisfied because we strongly believe it will be always an evolution, a product that will evolve according to new technologies, new user behaviors, and new feedbacks from the markets. Competitor as well will bring something, so we will adapt and we will continue to make Cubish the best solution for the spatial web.
And I would like to talk about the patent part, which I'm confident that it is one of the most complex one which is filed. About the patent, Luigi, I had a question there. When these big tech giants like Meta, Google, what genuinely keeps Cubish defensible in front of them? And what makes it more than just a feature for those tech giants to copy? How genuinely Cubish stands out? I just wanted to understand that.
Yes, I believe there are 2 points, which makes us different. One is, of course, your a patent-protected product technology, the multi-layer system we have built in. Today, there are already other products which geolocalize content, is okay. But what we can do is the multi-layer, so we can geolocalize multiple domains, multiple contents in the same space. And this is what actually protects us from the big giants, okay, because we are protected also at international level. On the other side, a little remark on this, is what I like to say. We are trying to also bring like the internet from the digital space. We're bringing it into the physical space thanks to all this structure of domain existing into the physical space. On the other side, if you imagine the behavior of the customer, which is more on this giant platform, on the socials, on Google, that the people, the customers, me, myself have, are much different respect to what Cubish will do. It's a kind of also of a new behavior, which differentiate us respect to the other platform, which allows the customer and the user to really interact with the world. Actually, the final user just stays with a video, maybe with a laugh, with an idea, I will go there, but it will never go there probably. Actually, Cubish is something different. I have my own page and I have my surroundings. My surroundings interact with me. I interact with my surroundings and I'm there and I can act, I can do something. And this will benefit both the customer and the activity, whatever, in real time. It will not be a programmed activity to be done in the future. It's something really different. So what differentiates us from current giants and what protects us is on one side, the patent protected initiative that we have and the product. And as well, I believe also we are going to create a new way of user experience and customer experience on this platform, on the way of interacting with the contents in the world.
Just connecting to that question, I would like to ask, take us to the Cubish world. Let's say I'm a tourist at Colosseum or a founder opening a store. Walk us through a day or a moment that would blow people's mind. What's the viral moment do you think the people will share when they first time try Cubish for the first time?
Let's imagine you are, as you say, the Colosseum or a store, and what will happen is since I will be near these places, then the system will notify me look, there is a content near you of Colosseum.cube, of newstore.cube, whatever, explore, it can be of your interest. As well, the users in the future will be able to set their preferences, to set their interest, so that the notification system is able to work properly according to the people interests and what they actually seeking for on Cubish. And so this notification will somehow be a push notification that attracts people to that place, to that square, to that real world positioning. And then from there, people can act. This is the main, how it will work for a user. Like, okay, I have Cubish, I download what's around me, I can see it, and then I can start exploring. I receive notification based on my interest. And then from there, I can act and do what I want,
I think that gives a whole different experience to the people once they start using. That's where the differentiation comes. That sounds very much interesting. Let's talk about your entrepreneurship journey, Luigi, which I really wanted to ask. Most startup, so they wanted to ship an MVP within just 6 months. That's how they start working agile, and then start working like that. But you spent 4 years in stealth mode. That sounds very, very crazy to me. And didn't the team ever wanted to quit? Or how did all the 26 founders keep believing, especially as competitors got headline? I know competition is still not there because of the innovation that Cubish is bringing. But yeah, maybe you know it better. At least for us, it's very innovative. But I wanted to know about this journey.
Actually, I cannot deny that was difficult. Okay. There were some people who actually also left the project. So 26 original founders have not always been the same. So there was movement. Personally, I liked the idea since from the beginning, and I believed until the end where we are now. There are some people who, of course, needed motivation. Okay. We spent a lot of time in doing research and development, which was necessary in order to build what we have today. And what was actually helping to keep the team united was more we have these departments of legal, communication, the strategy, and the IT department. All of them made actually a great job, in motivating, a great job in keeping the people that really wanted to believe in Cubish, to motivate them, the people that actually are very, very skilled in building the solution and are also foreseen to build a even better solution of Cubish. We are still 1% ready for the whole Cubish journey. And this actually was also it was the human capital that actually made Cubish survive. Up and downs, there were literally weeks, months with no updates on Cubish. Then what motivated us a lot was like, okay, we were able to find a solution to implement this feature. And then it became more and more a real product. And when we started to see, the first application test, and we started all to test 1 year ago, and then we started to see the product building. So it literally came to life. That really was for us like an experience, was something like, wow, this is how Cubish will look like. It's taking shape. And this literally motivated us to the fullest. And it was also kind of fun because we basically worked. We were all mostly from Italy and one from foreign. And we never met in person. We always worked online through meetings. It was all remote work. So imagine working with people you don't know. And it was a lot of trust in each other trust, me putting trust in the IT department, the IT department putting trust in the communication. So it was somehow a magic, I would say. It was a real work. And also there was a stealth communication that was done before the launch of Cubish. So there was a hype that we created, which really was successful in order to start to explain what is Cubish, when it will arrive. And finally, when the launch arrived, we were super excited. We started to see the first users. So it was really, really, really amazing. We never worked with a short-term mentality. Okay. We never said, I want to launch next year. Okay, not even the perfect MVP. It doesn't exist, the perfect MVP. But we want to build something that can be sustainable, that can improve. We can fail. I don't know how it will go, but still we will find a way to make it work. And this is what the most important, because all the team is on board on that, and all the team is ready to put their strength, their effort to make Cubish improve, with a view not of next year, but a view of 10, 20 years in the future. It's a long-term view we're working for.
And also, like, there's a data says like 33% of the startups fail just because of the team conflict. And I think Cubish set a beautiful example to all the new founders. So,
of course, conflicts are always present. There will be no growth also without conflicts. No, I believe that's impossible to not have conflicts. But what we were able to do is to, thanks to an internal structure, discussing things in a rational way literally helped us. In discussions were important, conflicts were important to make us understand, to make us grow, but still we were able to long-term view, believe in the project, put aside personal thoughts, whatever, and work for the benefit of Cubish.
You said that, Luigi, you are into the strategy side. If I'm really correct, it was mentioned that it is just 12 euros per year. That's less than a cost of a pizza. So how does that work for a planetary scale business? And what this pricing will bring or unlock for a truly democratizing the web?
Okay, I want to make a step back because we have premium model, which is what you're saying, of the 12 euro per year. And there is also a freemium model where is also the possibility to have a free domain. Okay, the difference stands in the fact that a free domain cannot be personalized. Okay, it's just the platform giving you a random alphanumerical code, and so you will not be identified, with a proper name. It will be more a technical name. And also in terms of limits of quantity of content that you can upload, the freemium model is limited. While the premium model, you're completely free to upload whatever you want, and as well you can personalize your content. So what actually I don't even like a lot to focus on how can 12 euro per year, somehow sustain the business and make Cubish scalable. What is important for us today, and I believe is the most important thing for startups, is to have a user base. Okay, so the most users we will have, the most we will be able to interact with them, to listen to them, and also to start to create small ecosystem to make Cubish expand. That's the main point for us. We're not looking now for profit. We're not looking to make a huge amount of money. We're more looking to literally engage as much as better as possible our users, okay, the people who really literally want to believe in Cubish and they like Cubish and foresee them as a real solution for their needs. And then it will come, the revenue part, and imagine millions of users paying 12 euro per month. And also consider that the 12 euro per year is the current, revenue model that we have, but it will evolve in the future. And as well, one important practice of Cubish is also not only the domain purchase. Today in Cubish, there are also the so-called expansion. What does it mean? That if I purchase a domain in Milan, for example, okay, I can buy an expansion into Paris, for example, okay? Meaning that I can extend the contents of my domain from one square to another, from one cube to another cube, and it will cost much less, 0.89 cents per expansion, okay? Which allows you to make your content visible around the world, in different cubes around the world, and can be visible at the same time, which is also a kind of a nice use case that can be applied, for example, in events. Imagine if you are kind of an artist and you want to somehow sponsor your fair, your presentation of your works at the same time all around the world, in the main European cities, the main American cities, main Indian cities, whatever. You can just buy one domain, expand it whatever you want in the world, and the content will be visible at the same time for all the people around the world in the cities where you are. So this is what we believe now is more creating actually a user base. Then the revenue part will arrive.
I really like that. So I think that goes very much in line with revolutionizing, because if it is just only the business model, then we wanted to make something money out of it. But I think whatever you said, Luigi, it's truly connecting to me, where you have to build the user base first. That's where you actually revolutionize.
And like Luigi has been, I think, few months from the launch, right? Can you give us some number or can you tell about the creators or the brands which actually have started building on Cubase?
Yeah, actually, I don't want to disclose some names, of the people. What we saw is that, especially on the Cubish is an Italian startup, so an Italian map, basically, some companies started to purchase the main domain of the cities, of the monuments. And so we're seeing also an increasing number of domains. Now, today, we're more than 1,000 of domains, not only in Italy, around the world. So we're seeing user base increasing. We're receiving as well continuous feedbacks from the users that we have in pipeline to implement.
On connecting to that question, like, I just wanted to know, is there any developer ecosystem or an API coming so others can build on top of Cubish? I just wanted to know on that.
Not yet. We already had some requests from actually around the world to understand how they could integrate their contents into Cubish, their platforms. Is something that we are working on, that we are receiving requests. The product is interesting. The functionality as well to have built-in APIs is something really, really interesting for Cubish. So at the moment, no, but in the future, it will be something that will arrive for sure.
I think it will be great news for the developer community if it's coming.
Luigi, I have a different question. Let's say that we are in 2035, 10 years from now. Let's say that Cubish will win the entire globe and it will also become a global giant now, like Meta and Google, what we are mentioning now. Now, at that time, what does the world look like for a regular people with Cubish all over? So how does it look like? What does the engineers need to know now about this ambition?
First of all, I hope that in 2035, all the people in the world will have the Cubish application, on their smartphone. That's my vision for now. And what I see is like, to me, the most important driver of Cubish is the human behavior. We are every day on our smartphone for everything. We're constantly with our phone in our hands for everything, for anything. There's what I see in Cubish in 2035. Imagine you walking on the street and you have all your surroundings which are digitalized, which every activity, every business, every influencer, whatever person has their geolocalized content into the cubes, and you're walking on the street, possibly wearing some wearables, some optic vision glasses, which allows you to make these contents available directly through hardware and not only through the application, going around and seeing 3D contents, seeing offers on products, see anything that can be related to your interest, and then directly from there you can somehow make purchases, make activities, interact as well with other domains. There is a lot of stuff that Cubish can do in the future.
Maybe we can get on to the next round. Luigi, maybe a rapid questions which can be lessons for the founders. You can answer it in a line or a two, or you can give just one word. That is also fine. SQL or no SQL?
SQL.
Hardest decision Dorian had to make?
Actually, it was very open in terms that it was more the representative of the IT department taking decision and presenting decision to us in explaining how Cubish was built in. So Dorian was kind of approving or not approving, but of course, if the product worked, Dorian had to approve, because the product works and the functionality expected it was more, from Dorian point of view, it was more analysis and evaluation of the technical decision than having a word itself on the technical base.
Okay, so when you launched in July 2025, what broke first?
The homepage, it broke.
Currently active users?
We are around almost 1,000.
Okay, the next question. What will be the timeline to profitability?
We foresee 5 years profitability.
So with the product, what is that one metric you're obsessed over right now?
On metric, we are obsessed basically on the user base. User base is the churn rate. So people that actually download and then they stop using it or delete the application. This is what we are looking at the most, is everything based on, we need that, we need the user base to make Cubish work.
One silly questions for you, like if Apple or Google called tomorrow and said, we want to acquire Qubits.
It depends. It means they're scared if they want to acquire us. Yeah, so it depends at which level are we, I believe. If we are at a certain level for which we can somehow literally scare them, I believe we will not want to be acquired. But also I see possible as well kind of collaboration, with tech giants. It's not only competition and being acquired, but we strongly believe we worked 4 years on Cubish already. We're going to work for other 10, 20. And honestly, we don't foresee at the moment. We don't have this vision of, I want to sell Cubish. Cubish is our little creator. We want to make it grow. We want to make it ours. We strongly believe in it.
We understood how the Cubish has been incubated or developed over the last 4 years in the stealth mode and then launched in July. But then I have a question. How do you look up to scale Cubish in the coming next couple of years?
I believe that the soul of Cubish, the motor, the engine of Cubish is its user base. Launching a startup, especially worldwide, is quite difficult to try to engage as much as possible users and make them engage among them and interact among them. So that's why in our idea, in our strategy, we are somehow building 2 core partnerships on the Italian country. So we're working for 2 partnerships in the Italian country in order to start, we believe, a lot in Cubish in the world of ecosystems. We want to start to build with these partnerships localized ecosystems so that we can make people interact in a closed environment and then step by step make this environment grow up, expand, and getting as well other users, other entities, which is outside the original scope of the initial build ecosystem. That's how we want to somehow expand through englobing what is external present into small build ecosystem. This is what we're going to try to do in the future, in the next weeks and months, to try to focus on geolocalized ecosystem and then somehow expand. It's basically how Facebook, at the beginning, they started to expand with the university and then they started to take other universities till they created a whole ecosystem based on universities. And then it came where it is today. We're trying to replicate that model. So small ecosystems to expand and then arrive at a certain moment where two ecosystems touch themselves and we created a whole huge big ecosystem. And then we strongly believe this can happen. Then a model can be replicated in other countries as well. Cubish name will start to expand. And therefore we strongly believe that this will be the initial way to speed up the adoption of Cubish and expand its user base.
I was curious to know because it says that you wanted to cover the entire planet, but then it doesn't happen overnight. It has to take step by step and you have to cover the ecosystem.
It will take a lot of time. We know that. Our will to work for Cubish. So we know that it can be possible. We know that we can be a global scale adopted solution.
Before we wrap, one last question, Luigi. After 4 years installed and after finally launching in July, dealing with all the challenges like you already mentioned now, what's the one thing that made you feel that it's all worth it for you personally or for Duran or for the entire team?
I think it is not my first experience in startup. I had a old startup which failed, but what I felt in both the, let me say, cases, in both the experience is actually seeing something taking life. I look at myself 4 years ago with all the calls made after our normal job, calls during the weekend, nights preparing documents, this kind of stuff, and seeing little by little, things taking place, and then finally realizing we have an application on the store, which we know is not the perfect application, which we know still needs a lot of development, which we'll never be satisfied with. But that's what really excited me and still keeps me really, really alive for the project and excited about the idea of Cubish, is seeing things taking place, taking life.
So, like Lucy, you have taken us beyond that line. But for viewers, where they should go if they want to claim a cube domain or build for the spatial web. So, you want from your side some message to our audience. How can they go? How can they use Cubish as a platform? And how can they register their domains there?
Yeah, first of all, everybody should download Cubish. The user experience is quite easy today. You just literally register with a few information and you access the application and then you land on the map and you can start from there looking at the cube of your interest, clicking on it and purchase a domain. This is quite simple experience. I remember as well that is not only purchasing, you can also have the freemium model where you can try to test and experience, with a free process, which is not involving any payment. You can try to promote yourself as an influencer, your activity. You can be an artist. You also want to as well to geolocalize a memory, an idea, a work you did, whatever kind of content. It can be uploaded, it can be a video, it can be a document, it can be a photo, it can be a 3D audio, it can be whatever you want.
I think that's a good message for the users, and that's well aligns with the vision of Cubish of increasing the user base. Also, for our developers who are watching this, is Cubish hiring or is Cubish open for partnership or contributions for the tech community?
At the moment, we're not hiring. We are still at a phase where we are not scaling at the moment. We are looking a lot for collaborations, suggestions, and type of feedback would be amazing. But then in the future, of course.
And also the question for our audience also here, like what one piece of content would you anchor in one spot on earth for the next 100 years? Drop your answers below in the comment section.
Okay, so thanks Luigi for taking us beyond the headlines. Thanks to Duran and the entire Cubish team, and we salute you for building the future.
Thanks to you for having me here. It was a great pleasure, and thanks for giving me the chance to share about Cubish and hopefully see everyone with the Cubish app on their phone and start to use it and uploading content.